DigiMarCon, and here I have a representative of Resolve. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Michael?
Yep.
Michael? Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I almost called you Ryan.
No, you got it, man.
I almost called you Ryan. Apologies. But Ryan, you head up Resolve, and I mean, the way I interpret it is it's a digital marketing agency, but more of a focus and leaning into SEO.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we're we have full service digital marketing capabilities, but really our kind of sweet spot is SEO. Even under that umbrella, link building and content creation are kind of the two areas that we really get into as an agency.
You know, I'll be honest, link building is probably my biggest weak point.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about link building in regards to kind of taking on a new strategy for a client? Really curious.
Absolutely. So, I mean, link building is a weak point for a lot of businesses because it's one of the hardest parts of SEO in that it's the one part that involves a third party. You can't just, change a title tag and get right. You have to go and build relationships with other people. So in terms of developing strategies for link building, one of the biggest kind of misconceptions of it is that it's, they think of it as off-page SEO. So it doesn't have anything to do with your site. But really the content that's on your site and the assets that you have there is going to dictate how much success you can have in getting backlinks. So there's a lot of work that has to go into creating content on your site if you're going to equip yourself to be successful in earning backlinks.
Yeah, nobody reputable wants to link out to like a kind of like unappealing, low quality content site,
Yeah.
So is there any particular, like a cool case study you can share around like any link building strategies?
Absolutely. I got a few really cool
ones.
So,
I love to hear them.
One example was a client that we helped with a digital PR campaign. And so what we did was we developed this product called digital PR magnets. And what these pieces do is they're long form pieces of content that usually involve like 2,000 to 3,000 words and involve a lot of design elements. So whether it's infographics or custom graphics. So we put those together and we create a piece about a macro trending topic. So this is a topic that has been in the news for a while, will continue to be in the news. And so what we picked for our client, they're an aquarium, we picked the topic of mythical creatures because people love that topic. It's kind of fun. So we found kind of the top mythical creature from each state in America. So we found Bigfoot, Wendigo, Mothman, all these, things from different states. And we created a ranking by state of the top mythical creatures and kind of put them up against each other. And so then we were able to reach out to publications in each state, letting them know about the piece, and they got excited because they had their creature. And we got tons of press coverage for our client.
So smart.
Like even NBC New York picked up the piece, which is like a DA 88 website with 1.5 million visitors. So got our client some really nice links using that tag.
And that's thinking outside the box, but like using the resources that you have.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Like,
it is
really cool.
Yeah, and another thing as well I always think a lot about is who are the audiences that you engage with? Like who can you provide value to and how can you solve problems for them? If you can create content that does that, like resource guides, that kind of stuff, that will create a lot of link opportunities for you as well and help you get links from relevant audiences.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think often I hear like when you're trying to create like a link building, link worthy content, it's like stats, use stats, but I don't know if you use stats for that article, but that one's more, you leaned on like just I guess the mythical creatures from each state. That's pretty.
So the stats that we mainly drove into, we just found public data. So we used a lot of Google search data to find out which ones were the most Googled, and we used that to help determine which one was the most popular and what. Yeah, I mean, you can get really stats heavy with it, or you can just get very problem solving and like focusing on the people. And there's no one way to get backlinks. And certain people are really good at the analytical statistics side, and other people are just because of their experience in their industry know how to connect with their audience.
What was the most searched mythical creature?
Surprisingly enough, it was not Bigfoot. It was skinwalkers in New Mexico.
Oh yeah, there's a movie out there.
Exactly. So New Mexico actually won, and so that was kind of our little shocker that we had as part of the piece.
That's really cool. Yeah. Now, it sounds like this kind of overlaps with your content strength at the agency. Yeah. So can you talk to me about your content practice?
Yeah. So really, when it comes to developing a good content strategy, if a brand hasn't ever done content, for SEO before, first thing I recommend is look at your competition and see who's succeeding and what's actually working. So you can use tools like SEMrush, and you can just put in the website of your competitor and then just start seeing what pages are driving the most traffic on their site. And if you see that there's blog content that can start giving you cues into the kinds of pieces that you should be creating and going after. But again, one of the things that people get so hung up on is how do I rank for my buying keywords down here at the very bottom of the marketing funnel? And a funnel, it's a visualization that really actually aligns with what reality of search is. Most searchers on Google are looking for informational queries that exist at the top. That's where most search traffic exists. And if you're not addressing that, then you're going to miss out on the vast majority of searches on the web.
Yeah, it's funny because like we think about foundational stuff, right? And like it's kind of like flipped upside down, where the foundational stuff you have to tackle is at the pretty top, where it is the informational, building the education and building the knowledge base, and then kind of geared towards the actual conversion of it. But people just, like you mentioned, they skip the foundational stuff and want to just rank really high. Yeah, that's pretty wild. And I think over time, over the last year or two, I've been appreciating that a lot more. Is the buyer journey and the intent, and speaking of building out content for that. So what sort of clients do you have in terms of like building out content? Is it like e-com? Is it localized?
A little bit of everything. So I mean, for one example is we're working with a guy currently who does like high-end keynote speaking at conferences and does it for like leadership and tech topics. So it's funny, like when we were talking with him, one of the things he said was, I don't want my website bogged down by content. And I was like, content doesn't bog down your website. It enhances your website. And I showed him an example where to rank through the keyword keynote speakers, you need to have an article that lists out a variety of keynote speakers, because that's what Google's ranking right now. Their interpretation of that keyword isn't that somebody is looking to find one keynote speaker. They want to see a list of keynote speakers. So it was just a cool example of showing him how, like content isn't going to bog you down, hold you back. That's going to create these for you. You wouldn't be able to rank these keywords that you would love to have without it.
What's funny? Yesterday I was talking to Suzanne. She had the presentation around conversational AI. I don't know if you caught any of that, but like when I was talking to her about it, because I was like, what do you have to do? Well, I'm not an engineer. What do you have to do to fall in line with conversational AI best practices? And the first thing she told me was content. You need content because you need something to feed the AI that can ultimately conversate with you. And I mean, I guess at the end of the day, content is still king.
It's still king, absolutely. And I mean, even with AI coming into, a lot of people are worried like, oh, AI is going to take over all content creation on the internet. And it's like the same thing that people were doing 10 years ago with like spun content, just creating like really like, spammy content out there. Google just, expect people to raise the bar and create better quality content. I think that's going to happen. Like people who are using AI for the lowest bar of entry, that content's going to get drowned out. So instead of how can you use AI to create as much content as possible, how can you use AI to enhance your process and let you create better quality content? And so I think those are the people who are ultimately going to win.
Well, that's exactly what Suzanne and Scott said, was that, the bar is going to be raised higher, and there's going to be a threshold where, like the folks that were using spammy tactics 10 years ago, they got dinged by Google with the algorithm updates. And same thing here. It's, you're going to be able to identify all the spammy content on like who just uses spun content through AI. And then that really should force users to create more higher quality content.
Exactly.
All right, very cool. No, I'm curious. I was like, I'm always curious around AI. Do you all use AI to any capacity?
Yeah. So the way that we leverage and use AI, just kind of what I mentioned before, right? Any piece that we create for our clients is going to be written by a human. But what we're using AI for is we're using it during the ideation process. We're using it to help create outlines for articles to kind of give us that initial push and that initial direction to kind of speed up those parts of the process. That way we can spend more time creating better quality, doing more research for content. So the idea is to use it in the areas that maybe before were just very time consuming, but still use human, ingenuity for creative aspects of the piece to make sure that that's being done.
I think a part of it is like you can't replace, strategy with AI. It can supplement strategy with AI.
Exactly.
And a couple of weeks ago, I ended up creating a YouTube video, and AI first and foremost, I think, did the video for me. But what it did is it took a piece of content that I already have and spun it around and gave me a different perspective and gave me a content which I used. So it was pretty nifty.
Exactly. That's a great example of how you were the creator of it. You put your thought into it, and then you used AI to create a new angle for yourself. That's great.
For sure. Well, is there any place that folks can reach you?
Yeah, so you can reach me at a variety of places. I'm at Twitter at Michael_Resolve. I'm on LinkedIn. If you just look up Michael Johnson Resolve, you'll find me there. And feel free to email me at michael@growresolve.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions folks have about SEO.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. And folks can reach out anytime.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.